Sounds dry.
Hey fam, I'm back. I promised that I was going to be giving you my tips on how to look so bronzed as you saw me in the picture that I posted earlier this week. So here I am giving you the 411 because I want to share all of this with you. So a lot of you guessed that it was this. That's not what it was. So we've all been in that situation, right? Where you have an event that you forgot was coming up, or maybe you decided, you know what, I want to wear a strapless dress, or I want to wear a cutoff shirt, and I have tan lines. Look at this. Look how dark I am here. Look how white I am here. A little bit pasty on my chest. And if you weren't able to either sit out in the sun, because like for me, I can't sit out in the sun because I have melasma, or maybe you just didn't have time to sit out in the sun and get tanned, or maybe you didn't put yourself tanner on early enough. That has happened, right? You put this on, there's no way you're going to be bronze enough to go to an event if you put it on a few minutes before. Also, what I've learned because of my tan line, which I typically do have, being so prominent, this really doesn't help with that. It'll make both sides darker. So you still see the tan line, it doesn't look pretty, right? And we got to look good from head to toe, especially that the summer months are coming up. So this wasn't it. However, you can use this before I show you the product that I'm about to show you what I do. I'm going to put this aside for now, and I'm going to show you what I did do. This is what I use. Body makeup. Oh, I love it. DERMABLEND. You can buy this at Ulta stores. So I have two colors because I actually do mix both. This one is medium bronze, 45N, a little bit darker. This one is medium natural, 40N, a little bit lighter. The reason why I have both colors is because obviously sometimes it's not going to match exactly what your color is, right? And they don't have a wide variety of colors as you would typically see for your foundation. So I have two, and I actually mix both of them. This one's just a little bit too dark for me. This one's just a little bit too light for me. So whenever you apply them, you'll be able to tell like, ooh, yeah, don't do that. So the good thing is they have testers at Ulta. You can go there, try on the color. They let you apply it on your skin here. But remember that typically your arms are darker than your chest. So keep that in mind if you do go out and test it on your arm and be thinking like, oh yeah, it matches my arm, but it may not match the rest of your body. So unless you want your body to look just as dark as your arms, I would suggest you either try it a little bit higher, maybe wear like a little tank, and you could apply it somewhere else on your body so that way you can determine if that's the color that you do want. So here's the thing. What makes it a little difficult when you're wearing a strapless dress is that you don't want your chest to be too dark because it may not match your face. So that is why I start with blending from here and then it gets darker as I go down. This is going to be a smooth transition. I will carry my foundation all the way down to here, and then I'm going to start applying my body makeup right down here and blend it in. But again, I'm going to keep it in mind that I don't want this too dark because it's going to really make my face stand out. It's going to be really light. So unless you're going to add some darker foundation to your face, I wouldn't go too dark on your chest. So let's get into it real fast. I typically use a cream lotion before I apply this product on. I usually use this face cream lotion. I know that's kind of bizarre. You're like, what? Just use regular lotion. I just find this a little bit easier to use because I am going to be putting makeup on and I don't want to irritate my skin even further. So face cream is more gentle when it comes to areas that you're going to be applying makeup that you may have an adverse reaction. That's another thing to keep in mind. You may want to try it out before you use it for an event. You don't want to put this makeup on and then in the middle of the event you start itching or you start breaking out. You don't want that to happen. So try it out before you use it on an actual event. I'm going to put my cream lotion on. Here's the thing too, which I do love about this type of body makeup, is it actually has sunscreen in it as well. So if you want to get out to the beach and have a great time and you're like, ooh, I still don't have a good tan, apply this and you're gonna look really good. And the thing is, you can keep applying it throughout the day as you're out on the beach. So when I'm going to an actual event though, I will typically use a brush to apply. And the reason for that is I don't want makeup all over my fingers. You can use your hands. You can just squirt it on and apply just like lotion if you'd like to. I just don't want all the product on my hand. Plus, I don't want to apply all of it underneath where my, well, you're not going to see it. That's hidden underneath my dress. So it's going to be difficult to apply it, and then you have to try to put on your dress, and it's just a whole mess, right? So what I typically do is I will actually put my dress on. I will get some either paper napkins or paper towels. I'm going to put a piece of it in here and then hang the other piece over because I don't want it to get on my dress, right? Same thing here, same concept. The tricky thing is you need to find a partner or a buddy that's going to apply it to your back, right? Because you want it to look all uniformed. So find a close friend that's willing to come over to your house and help you apply this makeup. I'll put some right here. All this is going to do is it's going to help me apply it as close as I possibly can to my dress without getting it on my actual dress. You may be wondering, does it come off? Does it rub off? It actually doesn't. It's a very thick cream base. It's not liquid-y. So that's nice because it just kind of sets, and then you could build on it. If you put some on and it's just not looking as dark as you want to, you can reapply and reapply and reapply, and it's not going to wipe off. I do use setting powder after though. So here we go. I've applied my lotion. Now I'm going to apply the body makeup. I'm going to start with the darker one first, the medium bronze. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to swirl it around. Just get a decent coat. I'm going to do the same thing here. If you'd like to, you can put it like maybe on a paper plate, squeeze it together, mix it out. That would probably make it mix a little bit better, but you know what? I just don't got time for that. So here we go. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you see the difference when I apply the first wipe. You see that? See the huge difference that it's making? But the good thing is that it looks very natural, doesn't it? So I'm going to start applying. And I'm going to blend it into my arm as well. And again, the reason why is because I want to get rid of this mark, this really strong line, tan line that I built up because I wear t-shirts out. The good thing is too is you can see my skin's kind of blotchy here as well. As you age, that happens, right? So as I apply here, it's going to make it look really smooth, almost like if I airbrushed this on. I'm going to apply it over my arm. I'm going to bring it here. You don't need to go all the way down here. I usually just kind of blend it out a little bit in this area because typically underneath this area is usually a little bit lighter. Naturally, it's naturally lighter. So I'm going to blend it all the way down. Look, I even have a few bruises there. You can see that. Place them right there. I'm going to get rid of the red blotchiness right here on this arm. And as I blend it up, get rid of that little vein that you see kind of popping out. I'm going to apply it right underneath in my underarm, and I'm going to go just a little bit underneath where the dress line is because you don't want to, you know, your dress kind of slips down a little bit and then you see that weird line, right? So I'm going to go just a little bit under the dress line. I'm going to keep blending it. And this is really it. As I mentioned, you can use your hands if you want to. I like using this brush. I feel like it blends it a little better than me just using my hands. I'm going to put a little bit more on. I don't know if you could tell the difference already. Look at this side. Let me push my hair back. Look at that line right there. You could see how pasty I am and how tan this portion of my arm is. Now look at this side. I applied it all to this area over here. As you can see, that really is just going all the way through, isn't it? All the way through. So it's looking really nice. And I look like I have just spent the weekend out on the beach, just hanging out in the sun. So again, I'm going to stop right here because I typically would get my foundation and I'm going to pull it down to here. course, you're gonna have your bronzer here, bronzer here, and bronzer here. But I'm gonna pull it through. That way I don't have this color all the way up here against my face. You don't want it this high ever, because you'll really be able to tell the difference between your foundation color and your neck color. As you can see though, it's not that dark. It is a little bit darker. Typically you'll see, you know, people will have their bodies a little bit more tan than their face, so that's fine. You don't want it to stand out. You don't want this to be so dark and then your face is really white, because that's really gonna, it's really gonna stand out. The contrast is really gonna stand out. Again, I'm starting with my darker color. Just swirling it around a little bit there. And I'm gonna add my lighter color. Swirling it around, and I just put a little bit, and I just swirl it around, and here we go. I'm gonna apply on this side.
Sounds dry.
And then you can pull this all the way down, so that way it's all uniformed. Pull it all the way down. You don't need to add more color though. If you feel like it's blending well and you don't need to add the color down here, just whatever is remaining, the remnants, go ahead and do that. So that way it looks more natural. Typically, if I do pull it all the way down here, I will buff it out here, blend it out in this area. You don't want your hand to look so light and then your arm to look darker, because that's gonna look weird, right? This is my foundation brush. I'm gonna pull this foundation down. Just kind of marry it here right on the bottom. So once you're done with that, as you can see, I've applied it all around. Let me double check on my mirror. Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? I've applied it all the way here. Obviously, you're gonna want somebody to do your back, because look at my back. You can see tan lines there. So you're gonna have a buddy put it on your back if you want it on your back. I mean, if you don't have somebody to help you out, I mean, you could just use your hand and kind of work your way back there. Now that I've applied it all right here, I need it to set, because I don't want it to be rubbing off on either people or on my dress once I do remove all this. I have my e.l.f. Perfect Finish HD powder. You could get this at, I think, just about any drugstore. This is not very expensive at all. I'm just gonna put a little bit. This one you don't have to worry about. Unless you have really crepey skin in this area, you can pack on this finishing powder. Again, as I've mentioned in other videos, that if you have crepey skin, you don't want to build up too much of your finishing powder, because that will just dry out your skin and it's gonna make it look more crepey. So I'm gonna put it all there. I'm gonna go down my arm. It's really gonna set my body makeup, so that way we can look fierce from head to toe. We want to look fabulous, don't we? Especially with summer coming up. Okay, make sure that I put it right below the line of my dress where I apply the makeup. All right. Keep in mind, you might get a little bit on your dress. Be aware of that if it's not yet set, if it hasn't dried. But you shouldn't. You shouldn't, especially after you applied this. This really just dries it out. So take your hand and kind of just rub it over it. And if you feel like any wet spots, some little tacky spots, just apply more finishing powder. All right, so the big reveal. Da, 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 da. I got a great tan. It's that easy. It really is. It's really that simple. I'm going to go ahead and list the products that I used today on this post for you. As always, remember to like and subscribe so you can follow my journey. Until next time, be fierce and be fearless. We'll see you next time.